Hello, and welcome to another episode of Math in My Backyard. Last week, you worked with tree diagrams and flipping coins. We also talked about rolling one die. This week, we're going to see what happens when you roll two dice. Right, so let's start by reviewing a tree diagram for rolling one die. This one has 6 sides with a different number on each side. And the probability of getting each number is 1 out of 6. We can do some more interesting things with this tree diagram. Like, here we can see that there are 5 numbers greater than 1, so the probability of rolling a number greater than 1 is 5 out of 6. There are 3 even numbers on our die, so the probability of rolling an even number is 3 out of 6, which is the same as 1 out of 2. So when you're rolling dice, you can predict that you'll probably get an even number about half the time. I sent out another Google form. This time I asked people to roll 2 dice. Let's go to camera 2 to see what happened. Okay, so when you're rolling 2 dice, what you do is you add the numbers together and keep track of the total. The smallest possible total is a 2, which is what you get when you roll a 1 on both dice, and the largest possible is a 12, which is what happens when you roll a 6 on both dice. So say we roll the dice 11 times. Based on what we learned last week, it makes sense to expect that in a perfect world, we would get each number 2 through 12 exactly once. That is not what happened. Okay, so what you're looking at here is a histogram, which is a graph that tells you how often something happened. If you look along the bottom row, you'll see all of the different possible rolls you can have, which are the numbers 2 through 12. Sorry about the decimal points. I couldn't get them to go away. The numbers along the left-hand side of the graph tell us how often we rolled each number. Let's look at that biggest blue column. That's the number that we rolled the most. You can see it goes all the way up to the number 4, so whatever number it is, we rolled it 4 times. If you go down to the bottom of the graph, the number to the left of that biggest column is a 6. Okay, that's the way this graph is numbered. The numbers are on the left-hand side of the column. So that biggest column is a 6. And you can see that there's nothing at all in the column for 7, which means we didn't roll a 7 even once in those first 11 rolls. Now, we learned last week that you can't just roll 11 times and expect to get each number exactly once. So we kept going. Here's our graph after 20 rolls, and it's still really all over the place. After 50 rolls, the graph's still kind of a mess, and we haven't rolled 12 even once. Hey, there we go. After 100 rolls, we finally have something in that 12 column, and a pattern's starting to form. You see how it looks kind of like a mountain? And the more we roll, the mountain gets more mountainy. I don't think that's a word. Now the center of the mountain is starting to shift a little bit towards the left. And here's our final graph after 600 rolls. The number right in the middle was rolled the most times, and the numbers on the edges, 2 and 12, were rolled the least. Now that's not a coincidence. And in math, anytime we find a nice pattern like this, we want to see what's going on. One way to do that is by making a tree diagram of rolling 2 dice. There are 6 possible outcomes for the first die. We can either get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6. And for each possible outcome on the first die, there are 6 possible outcomes on the second die. That gives us a grand total of 36 possible outcomes. That means that when you roll 2 dice, there are 36 things that could happen. Next, we're going to use our tree diagram to calculate some different probabilities. We're going to start with the probability of rolling a 2. Now remember, that's not rolling a 2 on just one die, that's rolling a total of 2 on both dice. And the only way to do that is by rolling a 1 on both dice. If you look at the red parts of the tree diagram, you can see that the first die is a 1 and the second die is also a 1 for a total of 2. So there are 36 possible outcomes and only one of them has a total of 2. So the probability of rolling a 2 is 1 out of 36. Let's do the same thing and figure out the probability of rolling a 3. One way to roll a 3 is to get a 1 on the first die and a 2 on the second die. Look at the parts in red on the tree diagram. If we roll a 2 on the first die, then we have to get a 1 on the second die in order to get a total of 3. And if we roll a 3, 4, 5, or 6 on the first die, that's too big. It's impossible to get a total of 3. So the only ways to get 3 are highlighted on the tree diagram right now, and there are 2 of them. And since there are 36 possible outcomes and 2 ways to roll a 3, the probability of rolling a 3 is 2 out of 36. Before I calculate the probability of rolling a 4, I want you to pause the video and figure out all the different ways that you can roll a 4 on 2 dice. Go ahead and pause it. Oh, wait. Did you pause it? Pause it. Okay, we're back. So if you roll a 1 on the first die, you need to roll a 3 on the second die to get a total of 4. If you roll a 2 on the first die, you also need a 2 on the second die. And if you get a 3 on the first die, you need a 1 on the second die. If you roll a 4, 5, or 6 on the first die, it's impossible to get a total of 4. So right there we have all the ways. They're highlighted in red on the tree diagram, and you should be able to see that there are 3 of them. And since there are 3 ways to roll a 4 and a total of 36 ways to roll the 2 dice, our probability of rolling a 4 is 3 out of 36. There's definitely a pattern here. The probability is really small for our smallest roll of 2, but as the numbers get bigger, the probabilities get bigger along with them. And that explains the pattern that we got in our histogram. There's a really small probability of rolling a 2, and look how tiny that 2 column is. It gets bigger as the numbers get bigger, just like in our probability calculations. The fact that it stops and starts getting smaller eventually is something you can figure out when you draw your own tree diagram and do this week's homework. Sometimes it can be a little confusing to read a tree diagram. It's hard to see what all the possible outcomes are. So I have a little tip for you to make it easier. Here's our tree diagram. Again, it shows all the different things that can happen when we roll 2 dice. This part of the tree diagram shows us all the things that can happen after we get a 5 on just the first die. Here it's a little bit bigger so we can see what we're doing. The thing you have to remember is that the outcomes aren't 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. When you roll 2 dice, you need to take both numbers and add them together. So all I did is added those totals to the bottom of the tree diagram. So now it's pretty easy to see that if your first die, if you got a 5 on that one, then your possible final outcomes are 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, or 11. And you can do that on your own tree diagrams too if it helps you to read all the outcomes. Thanks for doing math with me again today. See you soon. Remember to like and subscribe. You don't really have to, it's okay. Anyway.